was that happened?
Yeah, it's at the old reformatory there. The cemetery's at the bottom, and you drive up to go where the reformatory was, and we'd split into two with the teams, and Amy and me had driven up to the top on our own, pulled in to where the reformatory used to stand, and immediately it was like the guts were just twisting and turning, and it was just a real sudden fear that hit, to the point where I couldn't look outside my driver's door window because there was a feeling that something was standing there. And I thought, well, I'll not tell Amy because I don't want to put ideas into her head. Looked at Amy, but she was looking nervous as well. So I asked her if she was all right. She said, I don't know. She said, I'm feeling really, really nervous. And she said, I don't want to look at your driver's door because it feels like somebody's standing there. Now, at this point, we had the headlights still on. The engine was off. And a shadow of a man passed through the headlights. And then there was a bang on the boot. We did eventually get out and were completely mic'd up when we were on investigations, and I told her to listen back to the tape and see if we caught anything while we were sitting in the car. And on the tape we do have what's called an electronic voice phenomena, an EVP, where a voice will appear on your tape, and it's a male voice, and it's very, very deep, very, very, if you like, insane sounding, and it's kind of saying sinners like that, and it overtalks us. So that sort of backed up that maybe, just maybe, there was something there and it wasn't our imagination. But that's the only time in 20 years I've felt unnerved. But most of the time, as Jeff said, like the jail, I can walk around the jail and, you know, even if you see something, it's fairly okay.
EVPs, when you were saying that it appeared on the recording, you didn't actually hear the voice at the time?
No, with EVPs you generally don't hear the voices. You play it back. It's like it's been embedded on your tape.
Right. Do you find that there's more activity when you've got people around, actually people in the jail, for instance, rather than when you set up a camera and tape when there's nobody there?
We found that with the tours, that when we stopped the tours for a while, you'd say that the activity actually lessened in the jail. But when we brought the ghost tours back, we've had all this new activity happen. So it does seem that it seems to stir things up a little bit.
I think so as well. It does, yeah. I mean, because we had workshops, paranormal workshops, to raise money for the Adelaide Jail, and we'd have small groups of up to 10 people. Myself and Alison would sort of take 5 people each, and then we'd have a couple other people to assist us. On the last one we did, which was September last year, we had quite a lot of EPs. We had about 4 or 5. I mean, I normally don't get very many because I'm one of these people who just goes past me. But on the night, I actually picked it up on the video camera, and it actually sounded like the whole group heard it was just sighs. Like we heard a sigh and another sigh, and it was coming from upstairs. And one of the girls who was actually in our group, she sort of freaked out a little bit, sort of said, I can hear someone talking, this is freaking me out. We didn't hear that, but when I played the tape back, so you can see everything that's going on around, then you can actually hear the sighs were actually 2 words. First word was actually, shut up, and the other one was shit. And it were 2 different voices. So that was interesting. And then, which is really quite bizarre, we actually heard a great big belch come from upstairs. Everyone heard it, and everything was locked upstairs, and we just looked at each other and explained that one. The interesting thing was everyone in our group heard it. So there was 7 of us in the group, and everyone experienced everything at the same time. And we actually saw a black form moving up and down the gantry for 2 or 3 minutes. I was actually trying to video it because it wouldn't go away. It just kept on moving up and down. I didn't catch anything on the camcorder, but actually on the camcorder I got what sounded like a female sobbing. Yet there was never any female in that building. And I think in your group, Amy got the audio where she had actually a lady humming and then another lady saying it's cold or it's really cold.
That was a male voice. 2 female investigators sitting in a cell that had a reputation for the ghost coming through the wall. He was buried on the other side of the wall and standing over the prisoners' beds at the time. And so we were doing EVP work in there. And you got Amy talking and a male voice comes over the top of her going, I'm cold, like that. So
yeah, most of the time you don't see anything in front of you, just videoing helter-skelter sort of thing, just hoping to catch something. Then you have to watch like a wall or an entranceway for 4 or 5 hours and maybe hoping to catch something. And I think we've got, 50-odd seconds or something, or 60 seconds out of 300 hours. But that's stuff that we can't explain away as yet.
You do include in your team professional photographer, and you've also had help from academics to try and explain some of the phenomena that you've seen, haven't you?
Yeah, and we've got electronics experts. Hopefully we'll get a psychologist back. We used to have a psychologist in the team, so we're looking for another one now, which helps when we're interviewing people. So we try and keep it on a level that people can actually help. It's
an unpaid work that you're doing at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, we get no funding at all.
So when someone in the public might want you to come along and investigate a private home, would they pay for that?
No.
Cup of tea and a biscuit.
Totally free.
Cup of tea and a biscuit.
That's it.
I know that there's a lot of places in Adelaide that you've been asked to investigate, but you can't name them all.
No, a lot of the places we do have to keep quiet on. We may be able to talk about certain aspects of it, but we can't obviously give locations or names. And even the public ones are hard because we get so much vandalism. So if you name a place as being haunted or you've got activity there, immediately people go there and start hanging out and trying to get thrills and end up smashing the place. A lot of the cemeteries get a lot of vandalism.
That's a shame.
We do have to keep it fairly quiet on most of those. The reason why we keep mentioning Kapunda is because everybody knows about Kapunda anyway, so there's nothing to... you can't really keep that one quiet. We've also been up to St Cecilia's up in Peterborough and had a fair bit happen there. Most of the other places are private places that we go to, so we really can't.
Say.
Yeah, because we've got to keep the confidentiality on that.
Fair enough.
So.
And also, a lot of the people that help you out, I understand, don't necessarily want to be named.
No, we've got a couple of team members who don't want the names mentioned, won't be on camera in public, which is fair enough because it's their work and they don't want any comeback. Because, as you know, the subject can be ridiculed quite a lot, so...
This is a problem I was talking to you before about it, Jeff, particularly in academia. You found that academics were unwilling to be named in relation to this subject.
Yeah, that's right, they won't be named. Or they will assist, sort of in the background, but they don't want to be named. One of those things where you've got to understand their privacy and sort of respect that sort of thing. So. And
is it a fear that they will be ridiculed in their professional life?
I mean, they guarantee they will be ridiculed. And that's why you don't see any parapsychology departments in all the other universities around Australia. When
you're doing the research, when you're actually investigating people's private houses, are you going in there just to record phenomena, or are you actually trying to clear it?
No. We go in first of all and see what the owner wants. And up front we can't clear anything because we're not obviously clairvoyants or have that ability to do that. A lot of the time these people just want to talk, to know that they're not going mad for a start off and that there's other people that know about it. We give them a few ideas of what they can do themselves to try and get a resolution for them, either to understand what's going on. If they want something further done with that, we can put them on to people. Could probably go and help them out in that direction if that's the way they want to go. But as a team, no, we tend to keep it more on the nuts and bolts, more catching evidence side.
You look at the evidence in front of you, tried within all different philosophies, spiritualism, religion, all the different types of things. You basically just put them to one side, as we say, put them in the glove box of your car, and you look at the facts, look at the evidence in front of you, and you sort of deal with that. To be really honest, I mean, nearly all the houses have been investigated. We never ever recorded any phenomena in those houses. I mean, you've got a snapshot of maybe 2 or 3 to 4 hours in the house that may or may not be haunted, and it comes down to the people, what they're experiencing, what they think is going on. But it's very hard unless you leave equipment there 24 hours a day over a long period of time. The Adelaide Gaol was easy because we did that for a long period of time. But with private homes, you got families, you got kids and dogs and cats. And
that brings me to, have you ever brought in any pets? Brought your dogs along?
Yes, we've done.
I used to take my German Shepherd quite often on investigations. Not so much now, but into the jail and Kapunda. And
did he ever have any interesting reactions?
I think she was more interested in the cats in the jail. But in Kapunda, she behaved strangely a couple of times. I took her up there one evening, and it wasn't actually on an investigation. I was up there with a friend, and she just fluffed up and really went off a nut and became very agitated when there was nothing there. And another time, she was sitting on gravestones, and she wouldn't get off. And she just sat on this gravestone. I just could not get her off. We tried hard to get her off, and she wouldn't move.
They actually recorded that on videotape and everything.
It was just very odd behaviour when you know the dog, and you know the dog doesn't do that. So.
Normally behave like that.
But, can we say it's paranormal? Not really. We can just say she's behaved in a strange and an odd way.
Dogs are very sensitive to the environment too, so they're obviously picking up on something, but what it is, we don't know. I mean, I had a dog, he's passed away now, but went to a house in Highmarsh many years ago, and I actually took my dog there, and he was reacting to certain rooms before the so-called clairvoyant went in there and reacted to the rooms, which was interesting. Whether it was coincidental, I don't know, but I just noted it down, and he reacted to the same rooms that the clairvoyant actually reacted to. The biggest problem is that most individuals and groups have got their own definite ideas how things happen, or some are more scientific, others are more spiritual, so again, everyone works in their own way, and so it probably makes it a little bit more difficult sometimes. most people do get on with each other and respect each other's space. That's the best way of putting it, I think.
I mean, the good thing at the moment is we are now networking with 2 other groups here in Adelaide, and we all do research in different ways at the moment, but it doesn't stop us from coming together, having coffee, swapping ideas. Or if you go to a home and they want something completely different to what you can offer, you know, you can say, well, go to this group, they're a little bit more spiritual. Who's to say the right and wrong? And we'll send them over there. So the unique thing about Adelaide is we are getting on.